what you release out, the universe will give back. But it takes time. So you just manifest what you want in life. You work hard, you save money, you study, you make a plan, and you keep up that consistency. That's just an equation for
Boom.
excellence right there.
Yeah.
You're gonna hit it eventually. Achieve excellence
Achieve
always. Like
excellence always.
you're
Yeah.
bound to hit your goals. You just gotta keep it up.
Hey everybody, what's up? This is Kendra again. We're hopping on with another podcast, Study the Ascent podcast, and we are hopping on today and talking about the power of thinking and probabilities. So immediately when I thought about this topic, Henry, you came to mind because you know what it is. We're both traders, and probability is, I would say, the cornerstone basically of trading and becoming successful. But the more I dug into the psychology of probability and how it applied on platforms much bigger than trading and outside of trading, I was like, okay, there's something here. There's something inside of the power of probability and how we can relate it to, like, not just trading, but everything in
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
So did you want to give a bit of insight into what you do, who you are, what your socials are, etc.?
All right. So my name is Henry. My socials are well, my Instagram's Henry the Ninja with two A's. And what I do for a living is I'm a full-time investor. So I trade cryptos, Forex, NFTs, and I've been doing that ever since November of 2020. And I remember all 2020, I was working at Lowe's during the pandemic. So I was just saving, saving, saving. And then I'd requested off for vacation and then they denied it. And I had some money saved up. And I'm like, let's see what happens. So I just went full-time trader in 2021. I'm so happy that I did, and it's been going really good so far. And it was a roller coaster at first, but it was difficult because the first couple of months I was like, oh, this is kind of hard, blah blah blah. But then like each month you get a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, and then I'm so glad I did because life's going great right now. So that's a little bit about me right there. So follow me on Instagram and yeah.
Nice. And that is actually a great segue into what I want to talk about, because one, we can start off with the probability of your life going as great as it is right now if you had not taken the leap and stayed at Lowe's, versus the probability of you kind of venturing out and going with that kind of hunch that, no, I
Mhm.
think I'm gonna try. And we've talked about you basically meeting a guy who was into crypto too while at Lowe's and stuff like that. So again, probability is gonna show up so in so much of this conversation, because again, there's so much of our life that's based on us knowing that there is no 100%. And so that's why probability is a part of everything. There is no sure, but you were pretty sure that you staying at Lowe's wasn't really going to get you to where you wanted to be. And the probability of you just knocking it out, studying, doing what you have to do, continuing to learn, would have a higher probability of you being where you want to be. Because the more we do it, the higher probability there becomes of us being good at
Exactly.
something.
Hmm.
So just talk on that. Talk on that as an energy and what you felt. I want to see what your thought process is.
So when I was working at Lowe's, like I knew some coworkers there, and then they were telling me like, "Oh, I've been here 10 years. I've been here 15 years. I've been here 20 years." Now I'm over here thinking like, nothing wrong with Lowe's, but like 20 years making what, like 15 an hour, like
That's wild.
if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But for me, that just wasn't for me. And I was using that job as, like, think of it like a booster for a rocket ship. Like I was just using that to gain some income, just to have some money saved up so I could continue and then pursue my trading career, because I knew that that's what I wanted to do for a living. Because I remember it was 2019, the summer of 2019, I had my first $1,000 day trading, I think, GBP, JPY. And then from
Mm-hmm.
that point forward, I just knew that, like, if you can make $1,000 from your phone, you can scale up all the way. And then
Mm-hmm.
seeing Q and a couple other mentors make like six figures daily, I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do, but I'm not at that level yet. So I have to keep studying and keep studying and keep studying. And then what you were saying earlier, I had met that one customer, and the probability of that happening is so minute. Like the fact that that was just sheer, I don't know, like sheer coincidence, I want to say, but I feel like things happen for a reason. You just have to find out what those reasons are. So for those of
Exactly.
you that don't know the story, what happened was I was an appliance sales specialist at Lowe's. And like it was just a regular day. This one guy comes in, he's like, hey, I need a washer, I need a dryer. I'm like, all right, bet. And then he picks out the one he wants, and then he's going to pay for it, right? And crypto.com has a bunch of different cards, and at the time I had the blue crypto.com card, and then after the blue you have the red one, then you have the green one, the white, and the black. And then I didn't know anyone that had one, and he paid for the washer and dryer with the green crypto card. And I was like,
Hmm.
yo, so you're into crypto? And he's like, yeah. And then like for like the next 45 minutes we were talking like straight about crypto, and then when my managers would come I'd be like, I'm helping a customer. And then so like we just kept that whole conversation going. And then he introduced me to MetaMask and Hex. And that was before
Mm.
MetaMask was even a thing. This was like pre-MetaMask. And he said, you have to get this test flight app so then you can get the beta for this new wallet called MetaMask. And he says MetaMask is going to change the game. It's going to be DeFi. It's going to be an all-in-one wallet. You're going to be able to like search the web, connect everything to it. And he said, invest in this crypto. It's called Hex. And
Hmm.
back in the day, Hex was like 0.0005, something like it was like almost worthless. And I remember I had put like $200 in there, and I turned that into like $300, and I got out. And then like a week later, it had doubled in price. So I said, fuck it. Like, let me just put all my money in here. And I remember it was like a couple weeks later, I had about $2,000 in there and it was doing nothing. And then I had like the worst day ever. Like customers were being assholes. Like it just wasn't my day. And I had checked my account balance before my lunch break and it was like $2,100. And then I went to lunch, and when I came back 30 minutes later, I got a price notification that Hex had gone up in value. It just said Hex has increased X percent. So I checked my account balance, and it was like $4,600. I'm like, yo, what? And then
Wow.
it exploded. I remember, I think I put $2,000 or $3,000 in there altogether, and then I had gotten out a few months later, and I had made like I think when I liquidated, it was like 25 or $26,000. So that was a
Hmm.
huge increase.
Huge.
But I wish I stayed in. I wish I stayed in because if I would have stayed in, I'd have like $2 million because I got in at like 0.0005. And then
Mm.
in, I want to say October of last year, it hit 51 cents. Like
Yeah, I remember that. Wild.
I think Hex and Bitcoin are the two cryptos that have the most billionaires. Because like the top, I think 1,000 hex wallets, they're all billionaires. Like these are the people that paid like
Wow.
literally like it went from like worthless to so much. And then Hex had they were gatekeeping all their tokenomics, but I
Hmm.
forget there's this one website where you can find it. And at its prime, it was the third largest crypto. It was right under Ethereum in
Yep, I
market
remember
cap.
that.
It had
Yep.
exploded. It went from zero to hero. Like, and then I think, see, back then I had experience with crypto, but like when I look back at it now, I'm like, wow, 2020 was really 2 years ago. Like, it just blows my mind. Like, someone had sent me a Snapchat and
Does
it's
it
like, this
seem
is
like
what
a
you were
long
doing.
time ago or a short time ago?
It feels like yesterday. Cause
Mm.
like I remember working at Lowe's and I remember like all like 2020, 2020, like the pandemic, like we're still kind of in the aftermath of the pandemic and
Yeah, we're
everyone's like
still
COVID
picking up the
this,
pieces. Yep.
COVID that. So I don't know, it just feels like this was like yesterday. But for it to be 2 years ago and the progress I made from back then to now, it's just been crazy. Like I wish I knew what I knew now back then. But going forward, I'm like, okay, I made some progress. I had some ups, I had some downs, but all that matters is the knowledge that was gained to use that into the future.
Hmm.
Because in crypto, I was always chasing the big bag. Like I was putting my money in these like smaller cryptos to see if it'll moon to find that one crypto that crypto that like hit it big. But what I didn't
Hmm.
realize was I was in it from the beginning. Like that first crypto Hex that I got in, that was the
Hmm.
winner
That
right
was
there.
it.
And I
Damn.
liquidated, and then I got in a bunch of other ones, and I made some money here and there, but it was nothing like Hex. Like it really exploded. And then someone told me like, "Oh, why don't you get back in?" And I'm like, I just can't. Like it's
It's
15
different. Yeah.
cents right now. Like
Yeah, it's a
Like I just
different feel once you kind of miss the big moon.
because like I think I had like 5.1 million hex. And like, let's
Mm.
see, let me do the math real quick. What at current value that would be. So 5.1 times 0.15, that's 765,000 US dollars. So like to get my account balance back, that's how much I need. So I
Yeah.
just feel like it already exploded. Like
Yeah,
I
the
missed
big
it.
buses, yeah. So now it's like, you typically have so to explain it, some things and terms that he used that people outside of like the text, or not so much the tech space, but the crypto space and the trading space. So first you talked about GJ, which is a trading pair, the pound versus the yen. And
Yeah.
so if you go on, if you're familiar with TradingView, and you can actually go and look at these pairs. So when traders are talking about UJ, they're actually talking about different currencies until you get into indices like US 30, and that's a whole nother realm. But he was talking about GJ there. So we talked about MetaMask. MetaMask, like he said, is a wallet where you can keep all your cryptos. You can search web addresses, which I learned late, in the wallet itself securely. What else did we talk about? You talked about crypto.com and their cards. I definitely recommend people check those out and just get familiarized with some of the things that are going on, because the crypto world and the trading world both are their own separate worlds. Like you have a core group of people that really kind of do this every day and understand what's going on outside of the crypto hype, where people are just buying and selling without really looking at charts, or there's no real technical analysis behind why they're getting in. It's kind of just FOMO, and then just fear, and fear missing out. Fear of losing too much, which I've definitely fell victim to, and then fear of missing out, and then you get in and you're at the top. And so, yeah, I really think that you bringing up that probability of you meeting that customer at that time, when things happen and the probability is small that it should have even happened at all, those are especially times when we have to completely take advantage.
Hmm.
Because again, that's like when you experience something in your life, you just think like, oh, it would just happen, it was just a part of my life. But when we zoom out, and again thinking in terms of probabilities, like that was a main indicator that you should have did
Yeah.
exactly what you did, because you were the 0.00 whatever of someone, of that particular meetup happening, and him introducing to something that you were already familiar with. Because if you weren't familiar with it, he could have said whatever and it would just went in one ear and out the other. You would have had no idea what he was actually talking about, regardless of how good the advice was. And so
Hmm.
you were able to meet this man at Lowe's over a washer and dryer, him talking about something that you already knew about, you knowing enough to know what he pulled out was valuable to even start the conversation. Then he
Hmm.
was able to put you up on MetaMask and Hex. And regardless of if you didn't hit that 2 million, you still turned 2,000 into 25, 26,000, which
Hmm.
is somebody's entire yearly salary somewhere in 99% of the world,
Hmm.
a fortune to some people in some parts of the world. So I think also when we're speaking about and speaking in probabilities, one point I'm going to bring up is, like we talked about before, continuing to learn to increase your probability of things working in your favor when you feel pulled to do something, you felt pulled to trading. And so at that moment in 2020, you weren't as good as you wanted to be in hindsight, but the fact that you practice every single day has increased your probability of you actually getting to live what you saw in your head when
Hmm.
you were like, yo, I want to do this. And we brought up Q, which is Q Banks. You can find him on Instagram at CUEBANKS. And he also was my introduction. Well, I don't think he was your introduction to Forex. I'm not sure. But he was definitely my introduction to Forex. So
He
all these
was
things are kind of coming together. So he was or was not for you?
So he wasn't. So my first introduction to Forex was through IML, which I feel like is
Whoa, I didn't know you were
most
an
people.
IML person. I
So
feel
like
now
I
that's where I'm low in probability. I did not know anything about IML until everybody was making fun of it inside
it
the Q's
it
chat.
yeah, yeah. There's a reason everyone makes fun of it. So like I was part of it, and then because this was back in 2017 when I started, and
Hmm.
like I was I was going from I couldn't get a job. Like I was like I think I had applied at like 20 different jobs. I got denied at all of them. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to work there anyway. And
Mm-hmm.
then I was looking up online everywhere, like how can I make money from home, from my phone? I got into affiliate marketing a little bit, but that just didn't work out and I just wasn't really into it. And then someone had introduced me to IML. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then that gave me that introduction to Forex and
Mm-hmm.
to crypto. And then that was during the 2017 crypto bull run. So it all kind of like intertwined. But with IML, I think they changed their name now to like iMarkets or something. I don't know because they had a whole scandal, but it just wasn't worth it. Like when you took it, the course, like they taught you a little bit about Forex, but they're like the real money's in like recruiting people, and then like there was
That
some
is
like
so weird to me.
150 a month, and then they're like if you recruit 3 people, then you don't have to pay that, and it was, and then
That's so
90%
weird.
of the
I
people
don't
in there
understand where the
don't know how to
recruitment comes
trade.
in. Exactly. Like, why do
Like
you need other people to trade Forex? And that's what I'm
it
like,
just
anytime people say they know about Forex, I immediately am like a side eye because I'm, which Forex are you familiar with?
yeah,
Because if
yeah,
you're
like
familiar with the IML, like, you don't know how to trade. And that's just, like, let's just keep it real. Like, if you don't know how to
like
read a chart, if you don't know when to enter and when to exit, you don't know how to trade, period. And
and then
so that has
90% of
nothing
them
to do
just
with
go
people.
like off signals because they have signal groups with like
It's
20,
just terrifying
30,000 people. And then
because anybody could be
I
saying
had
anything.
I had left that because I just like this
I
isn't
don't
it.
do
But I'm like,
signals.
I still want to be in Forex. And then this is the crazy part. Like I was literally watching this YouTube video and it was like a gold digger pranks video and they had some guest star and his name was Nick Legend. And then he was dressed really nice, he had a really cool car, and he was a really funny guy. And he was in a YouTube video, and then they had his Insta and all that. So I had followed him, and I'm like, what does he do for a living? And I'm like, oh, he trades Forex. And then I bought his
Mm-hmm.
course, and that's what started me off. And it was an okay course. It wasn't the
Mm-hmm.
best, but it wasn't bad. It was
Mm-hmm.
okay. And then in July, I want to say, of 2019, because I was trading Forex from the end of 2017 to a little bit of 2018. And
Mm-hmm.
then from mid 2018 to like December, from I think July to December of 2018, I stopped because I
Okay.
was like, because crypto had gone down and then I was still a beginner. But in 20 December of 2018, I think I had like $100 account and I
Mm-hmm.
turned it into like $900. I'm like, I think I should do something with it. I was like, let me, you see? And then I started studying it more. And then in 2019, I bought Q's course, and that was like the game changer. That was like the course
Yes.
where like everything was in there. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, gotcha. And that really, like, I was right here in my trading game, and it took me like right here. And then I bought a few courses after that to add on to it. But Q's course really gave me the good basics from like beginner to intermediate. That course was wonderful, and I recommend to anybody that wants to get into Forex because that was
Same.
10
I
out of
do.
10.
I send them to baby pips, and then I say then when it's about a course, I definitely am a Q's course.
Hmm.
Definitely recommending that. But okay, boom. This part we're gonna talk about how probability plays into. I'm gonna start. Okay, so one thing that really assisted me is Mark Williams. So I dived into Mark Williams super super heavy last year. um, I just wanted to get my psychology. I had taken a couple big losses. I really just needed to get my head right. And a lot of life in general, but especially trading, when you're kind of going off some indicators and technical analysis and all this, but it's about like, do you know when to enter and when to press that button and when to get out and when to, it's really heavily psychology based. And so once I started listening to Mark, he really helped me understand that when we're doing 10 trades, let's just say, you are basing your trades based on certain signals that you feel like is your edge. Like, I tested this, I'm seeing these certain patterns. Okay, I'm going to go based on that. You're not necessarily looking for any one particular trade to be 100% winner. Because again, what we said before, 100% doesn't exist like anywhere in nature. And so what we're looking for is for the majority of those trades, not one particular trade, but the majority of those trades to be winners. So
Yeah.
if I'm trading one trade and it's a loser, and another trade is a loser, and another trade it's a loser, I'm not allowing myself to get discouraged because the next 7 could be winners. I just know that my typical trading is 60% or 70%. I'm not exactly focused on which trades are going to be the winners and which are going to be the losers. I'm allowing my system to play out over a series of trades. And I think that when we talk about, because trading is basically entrepreneurship, like it's you versus you, it's you in the charts. And all other forms of entrepreneurship, it's like we hear about entrepreneurs going out there and their first attempt was a failure, or their second attempt was a failure, their third attempt was a failure, so they did something else and then they went back. It's the understanding that you're going to win over the long term as long as you keep like putting that effort in. Like if I quit after I lose those 3 trades, like now it is 100% chance that I'm going to lose because I'm not continuing to apply myself. And so me reading that and being able to apply that to the charts seeped into my everyday life. And I was already like this in terms of, okay, fine, that didn't work, I'm gonna try something else, or I'm gonna try it again. I'm basically not gonna be, when life throws me a left hook or whatever, I'm not just gonna sit and lay and be like, well, that's it, that's the end of everything. Because what allows us to be successful, or what separate successful people from unsuccessful people, is their understanding that the more they try, and the more they learn, the higher probability that something's gonna pop. Like the more you try it, the more probability you have that one of those things or a series of those things are going to be successful.
Yeah, I agree completely. Like, I feel like L's are not losses, but lessons. And I forget who
Definitely.
said it, but someone said it that, like, if you quit now, that means you lost. Like, you're going through hell. Why would you stop now?
Why quit?
Like,
Yeah, can only
but
get it better from here.
exactly, because if you quit, you're like, all the money you lost, boom, it's gone. But
Yep.
if you keep going and you keep going, you will make it eventually, and then you'll be able to, all the future profits will eliminate past losses.
Yeah, that's
That's what I
another one
think
that
Q said
keeps
that.
me. That's
Yeah,
cute.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because like if you quit, all that money you lost is gone. But if you keep
Hmm.
going, you'll eventually make it to the point that you want to be at, and then you can make all your profits back plus way more. And then
Hmm.
it's like, why stop when you're so close? I think there's like a picture, and it's like 2 miners digging for gold, and there's
Hmm.
like the gold right here, and there's one miner, and he's like right there, and he quits, and he's turning around, but the other guy's like right there, and like the gold, it's just, you don't know like how
How
close you
close
really
you
are. You
are.
just gotta keep going and keep going.
Woo!
Because like
Yeah,
when
that's
I
a
look
word.
back at my trading career, if I would have quit back in 2018, I don't know what I'd be doing now. But then
Hmm.
like, and I remember I've had many ups and many downs. I've almost gone broke a few times. And then I
Hmm.
remember in 2019, I was going through a lot of stuff. And I remember my ex-girlfriend and I had broken up. I had lost my job, but I had about, I think, $11,000. So I attempted to go full-time trader back then. And then I lost all that money. And then it was bad. It didn't work.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Traders, every trader who really like knows trading has a story like, yeah, I put this in the account and it's it all.
Yeah, I
But
turned that 11,000 in like $300.
nice. But
Uh,
what you were saying before, and I want to drive this point home because Q definitely pushes this into our heads, is the future or what is it?
it's
Future profits
future
eliminate
profits
past
will
losses.
eliminate past losses. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
what he's typically saying is when you're in Forex and you're taking like you're risking, anywhere from, depending on your risk tolerance, 1% to 10% of your account. Like sometimes you do end up blowing the account, but in the midst of blowing that account, you're building skills, because
Hmm.
more important than the money is the skill set. Because trading, I consider an unlimited. I literally wrote, when I was writing the different things, like the different ventures and stuff that I'm into, that I'm making sure I'm hitting every day, is it's an unlimited skill set, because I can, the same move that somebody caught and they made $100, you can easily make $100,000 on that with the right leverage in the right account. So when Q says future profits eliminate past losses, what he's saying is you might have lost that $11,000, but with that same skill set, when you put another 11,000 in your account, you can easily make that 200,000 in the next week with the right moves. And so that's where the skill set and the experience becomes more important than the money, because the money,
Hmm.
you can make back easily when you have the skill
Hmm.
set. And that's what I
Yeah.
love about trading.
See, I feel like the skill set is imperative because when I look back at it, I thought I was ready back then. But like you don't know what you don't know.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
like I have screenshots of some of my trades from way back then and I'm like, ooh, what was I doing? Or
Cringe.
why did my chart look like that? Like it was crazy. And then like I just wasn't experienced. I feel like that's a big thing, is just the sheer experience that like I just decided that like, hey, this is what I want to do with my life. So it might take more years. It might take 2 years, 1 year, 5 years. Who knows? Like, so I'm just like, I'm just gonna keep going till it works.
Yep.
Like, I know that one day it will work, so I'm gonna keep going. And
That's a
like
boss
each day, you
mentality.
get better. You get better here. You get better there. Like the way I see, it, like you take a trade and you win or lose. If you win, great. And then I document it and be like, this is why I took the trade. These were the confluences, and then this is how the trade went in my favor. And I'll document that and I'll take a picture of it too. So
Mm-hmm.
that way, like if I see another trade like that, I can replicate it. And then my
Mm-hmm.
losses, those are where you learn the most. It's like, okay, this is what I did wrong. Did I over leverage? Did I FOMO? Did I do this? Did the pattern change? Like, what did
Mm-hmm.
I do wrong? And then I'll also take a picture of that and then document it as well. So like if I see like a chart pattern, I'll then go back and look at my notes and be like, okay, this looks similar to that. Let's see how it plays out. And then most of the times it's very similar. So I have an idea of how it's going to turn out. And then I think throughout the years, the biggest thing I've noticed is when you document your stuff and then risk to reward. Those two are
Yes.
imperative.
Risk top
Because
risk
back
yeah.
then I used to be a little bit more risky, but
Same.
now I came up with like a new strategy and it's been working great. And then just documenting. Because what I used to do is I just keep like mental notes, but we as humans, you forget stuff. So it's like that's not really good. So then I just started writing stuff down like here and there. And then like if I ever needed help, I'd look at my notes and I'm like, ah, that's the answer I needed right
Mm-hmm.
there. And then I don't know, it's just the experience. You just gotta keep going. Like no matter what you do in life, you just gotta keep trying because you'll make it eventually. Like you
And
just
that's that
keep
boss. Okay,
going.
I'm gonna go back to the boss mentality because I said that right when you mentioned it, because it's exactly something I've heard Q say on one of his YouTube videos. I don't
Hmm.
remember. I remember what it looks like. He's outside of one of his apartments at the past apartments, and he's just like, I didn't really care how long it was gonna take me. Some people said it takes 10, 15 years or something, like something crazy, to be good, and I was prepared to take that amount of time.
Hmm.
And it's the patience factor, because again, we're what we're doing is adding experience to increase probability of success. And no shade to the Henrys that made those choices, those trading choices that you know you wouldn't have made now because you needed, like, that you would almost say that Henry was more brave than you now because you have more experience. But he was just, I mean, he was letting it fly. But he learned,
Hmm.
like, you needed all those Henrys to get to where you are now.
Right.
And so it's
There's a
another,
saying, and the saying is the lesson will repeat until learned. And
definitely,
like that's
definitely.
how I learned a couple chart patterns. Like I remember it was, what was it? It was the rising wedge. So for those of you that don't know
Mm-hmm.
what a rising wedge, it's when the pattern goes up and it makes like this triangle. And the best way to put it is like the wedge looks like this, and when the water gets to the top, then it
It
falls.
falls. Yeah.
And then I kept seeing that pattern, and I don't know, I'd always like buy, but it dropped. And then I think I lost like 4 trades in a row from that same pattern. And I'm like, oh, every time this pattern forms, it drops. So I had to learn the hard way. And like I do a lot of pattern trading. So like each individual
Me too.
pattern, like I had to learn like the hard way. Like there's a couple times where I'm like, oh, this pattern keeps getting me. I'm not gonna let it get me next time. So it's just
Mm-hmm.
that experience. Like if you've never done something before and you fail, that's completely normal. If anything, that's good because you then can reanalyze what you did wrong. So
Mm-hmm.
you learn. And then when you do it again, you're like, okay, I'm not going to do that next time. And then just learn and learn and learn. Like with the experience and how things go, like the more you do something, regardless of what it is, you'll get better and better at it. So like,
Exactly.
let's say your goal is to be like a professional chef, uh, and you only cook like once a week, you're not going to get there. But if you cook every single day, you're going to learn new recipes, blah, 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 and you're going to get there. So like whatever you do in life, it's gonna take time and experience. Like what a lot of people like see on like Instagram and Snapchat is like me throwing charts up there or me partying, me doing fun stuff. But what a lot of people don't understand is like I'll be studying between like 2 and 4 hours a day. And then when I do a push week, it's between 6 and 9 hours per day of on the charts, studying, back testing, watching webinars, watching courses, research. Like there's a lot of work I put into this, like late nights, early mornings. It's the straight grind right there. But it's 1,000,000% worth it because it's life changing. It's the skill that has changed my life. Like I remember a few years ago, like I'd be looking for a job or I'd be at a job making like between $12 and $15 an hour, paying bills here, paying bills there. Couldn't go on vacation. Like life was like okay, but see
Mm-hmm.
now it's just slowly gone up and up and up. Like and I'm so thankful for like just everything in life. Cause like the other day, like I was going through Snapchat and I love Snapchat because they show you memories. They're like, this is what you were doing 1 year ago, two
Mm-hmm.
years ago, 3 years ago. And then I was just looking back at it and like from 2017 to now, I'm like, I've done so many things and had so many experiences. And I'm so thankful for the sheer progress of life itself. Cause like me then and me now are like two totally different people. I feel like people underestimate the amount of progress you can make in such a short period of time. And then Gary Vee talked about
With
this a lot.
consistency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Gary Vee talked about this a lot because people underestimate what you can do in 10 years. And he's always talking about like 5 year terms, 10 year terms. And I'm like, I had just recently turned 24 earlier
Mm-hmm.
this month.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm
Happy
looking back at
birthday.
it. Thank you. And I look back at it. I'm like, for me from 14 to 24, like, that's like, oh my God,
Night and
like
day,
the
right?
sheer progress. And then that made me think, I'm like, man, I can't imagine where I'm at when I'm 34. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just like when I think about all this, it like blows my mind, just like progress, experiences, life, and like, oh, just so thankful for life itself. Like, oh,
Exactly.
I'm grateful.
Expansion happens in probabilities. So when we are talking about chart patterns, to bring it back to probability yet again, when we're looking at certain patterns like the rising wedge, ascending wedge, descending wedge, whatever, the channel, those patterns have a way that they typically play out.
Correct.
So what we're doing is like a casino, we're kind of setting ourselves up in the position that wins the most. There's always some like, okay, you're going to do a pattern and you go the way it typically goes and you lose because there's always a smaller chance that you're going to lose. But that's the key is you want to put yourself in a position to where you are most probable to win. And so
Mm-hmm.
when we're looking at, and this is why I will never take signals because I need to see what's happening
Oh,
myself. Like I never have taken a signal, and I will continue. I've been offered by people that I respect, but it's just like no, I need to get that, develop that for myself. It's not really going to help me if I'm just doing what you say. I need to see it and experience this stuff for myself. But anyway, that's what people are doing when they're trading. They're not just going and clicking. The better traders, let me say that, because some people are literally just going the better traders are looking at the probability that a certain pattern yields and has yielded over time, because there's definitely patterns in the market where it'll make the same thing and act in the same ways. And so you want to put yourself in the position of, okay, I see when it's done this historically, it's done this. And you want to put yourself in the position and make sure your risk tolerance
mm-hmm.
and your risk management is on point, because again, there's always a chance that it could not go in your favor. And the same thing with life. If you're doing something, you say, oh, I've seen this kind of play out before in your different life experience. And you're like, I think I'm going to pursue this. And I think there's a pretty good chance. You don't necessarily, some people still do, but it's just best so that you can survive over the long term. You don't necessarily put all your eggs in that basket. You put the eggs that you feel like there's a strong chance, okay, boom, like it's a higher level, a daily or a monthly signal. Okay, I'm gonna put
Mm-hmm.
more eggs in that basket. Versus if it's on the 5 minute, I might only risk 1%, or less. And
Yeah.
so it's like understanding when you think in those ways, it changes the way that you live. It definitely changes the way that you invest. It changes the way, like, things aren't just random anymore. What people don't understand it because they're not thinking in probabilities is they just think people are going in and just getting lucky. Some
Yeah,
people
see
are
that
getting
that's
lucky,
the
but the
difference from
majority
like
of people are not.
casinos and then trading. Because casinos, you kind of just got to get lucky unless like you're like a professional poker player.
Mm-hmm.
But like with trading, we have confluences. Like for example, like let's say you're looking at a pattern, and historically, let's say the pattern is bullish. And for those of you that don't know what bullish means going up, bearish means going down. So let's say there's a bullish pattern, like a falling wedge is a bullish pattern. It's the opposite of a rising wedge. So you would look for confluences. Like let's say you have, and confluences, think of confluences as like clues
Yeah.
in the market. So
Yeah.
you look for things that would follow your bias. So let's say you think it's going to go up, and then you mark up your chart and you find 5 bullish confluences. That means there's a high probability that it's going to go up. And then like let's say you find 2 bearish confluences, and that's a low probability it's going to go down. So then now with that information, then you can take a buy and use proper risk,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can see the trade go in your favor. And then another thing with probabilities, and I see this happen a lot. I'm sure you've experienced this, I've experienced this, and many traders where like, let's say you enter a trade and you lose. And then you get back in, you enter a trade and you lose. You enter a trade and you lose. And then you stop trading and then it goes in your favor.
Yeah.
Like that has happened with all of us.
Yeah.
Like the probability is you'll eventually win. So like, why quit now? That's why you have to use proper risk. So like, let's say trade 1, you lose, but you use good risk. Trade 2, you lose, but you use good risk. Trade 3, you lose. And then trade 4, you're like, you know what? Here we go. And then it goes in your favor. You make all your money back plus more. It's just
Boom.
Probability.
Yep.
Like you're going to win eventually. Like some people think like, oh, I've lost 10 trades in a row. I'm terrible at this. I'm like, no, you're just on a losing streak. Like you're going to win eventually. Take a step back, reanalyze, reevaluate, and then boom, get back in.
Yeah, get your
And then
mind
that's
right,
another
which is the
thing
psychology part.
with winning trades too. Some people are like, oh, I've won 20 in a row. I'm going to win 100 in a row. I'm like, no, you're going to hit a loser. Like it's bound to happen. Like, and like you said, like there's never a time where it's 100% ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like you might win some here and there, but you're eventually going to lose, and you'll have a losing streak, but you'll eventually win. Life is just probabilities.
Yep. And that's another part when we say risk management. So I'm typically taking trades, like the least I'll do is 2.5, but let's just make it 3. Let's just say you have a trade and your risk to reward is 1 to 3. That means that making it clean numbers, if I have a, I don't know, $10,000 account or 20 or whatever, I can risk 1%, okay, of 100,000, 1% and do 1,000. I'm trying to make it so that people aren't like going crazy with their accounts. But if I have $100,000, I say I want to keep it cool. I'll just risk 1%. That means that's $1,000. So I go on my chart. I look at, I'm seeing some bullish confluences on a bullish chart pattern. So I say I'm going to risk that 1% on this particular area. My risk is 1,000, but that 1 to 3, that 3 means there's a 3% chance that I'm going to make that money. So I could either lose 1,000 or win 3,000. And so that's where that future profits eliminate past losses comes in, because I can lose 3 times in a row. But if I win one trade, me making sure that all my trades are 1 to 3 makes it such that I win all that money back, and I'm back at 0 with just on that 4th trade. So that's the power of probability and risk management together. That's how the great traders, and again, once you have higher confluences on higher time frames, you can risk a little bit more, because that's a strong bullish signal or a strong bearish signal. So that's where those probabilities come in at, and why, because you really want to understand what people are doing. The people who are really great at trading, great investors, great business people, they're all thinking in probabilities. When an investor is looking at an asset, they're looking at what's the probability I'll make my money back and some. When they're investing in people, companies, whatever, stocks, they're looking at what's the probability. I know there's a chance that I might lose, but what's the probability that I'm going to win? And they're making that investment based on their own. A lot of them don't even know that they're doing it at that point, but honestly and truly, that's what they're doing. And so when you switch your mindset from, all right, I'm just going to do this because everybody else is doing it, to thinking in probabilities, that's the difference between someone who is great and someone who just is at the whim of their every emotion or the hype or the whatever. Like if you see a hype coin and it's skyrocketing, Stay away, because it's gonna eventually come down. That's the time you want to get into it. And that's another part of why the psychology of this is so important, is because you almost have to switch completely the way in which we've been taught to think. Like
Yeah,
100%
it's kind of like we gotta do the opposite of like
of
what most
everybody
traders
else.
do. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's crazy because like when I started trading on like a crypto exchange like KuCoin,
Mm-hmm.
that's way different than trading off a MetaTrader. But the perk to doing that is you can see the open ledger, so you can see actual order block positions, which is
Yeah, that's crazy.
incredibly
Yeah.
handy. And then so you can be like, oh, I don't think price is going to go below this area because there's this whale with buying X amount. And then an example of that was yesterday. I was trading Wild token, which is
Mm-hmm.
the coin for Wilder World.
Mm-hmm.
And like price was stagnating at, I think it was like $1.18. And it was stagnating at that area. And every time it hit it, it'd spike up and then come back down. And the reason being is because there's an order block there, and a whale was buying 32,500 tokens at a
Every
dollar
time it
18.
dropped down there,
Yeah, and I'm like, the only way for it to go below $1.18 is if someone sells more than
more than that
32,000.
32,000.
So
Yeah.
like, and then by looking at the order block, I'm like, okay, no one's selling that much. So I'm like, I don't think it's gonna go down. And then later on, it just kept going up and up and up, and then like it's crazy because like you have to use like all these different confluences to increase your probability versus like a lot of new traders, they just follow the hype. They're like, oh, someone said buy Doge, let me buy it, and then they buy it like all-time high. Like
And it
they
just,
don't use probabilities, they don't use confluence. They just said, oh, someone told me to buy this, so I bought it. And then 90% of the time that doesn't go well. You do get those occasional people that got in early and make some money, but
it's not the majority, and that's what we're talking about. We're
yeah,
talking in probabilities. Is you're gonna
another
get
thing
wrecked. There's a high
Another
probability you're gonna
thing,
get
and this
wrecked.
has happened to a lot of my friends that aren't traders. I had a couple friends and they made some really big money off a little bit. Like they both used, I think, between 1 and 3,000. And one of my friends made 30,000. My other friend made, I think he made 110,000. But neither one of them had any trading experience. They just one bought in Doge, one bought in GameStop, one bought in AMC, or they had a combination of all three, and then they made a lot of money. But what they didn't understand is they thought that they were going to make that money like every month. I'm like, no. Like, what
Take your
happened with GameStop
profits.
and AMC? Like, I was like, yo,
Dang.
sell. And then unfortunately, what had happened with both of them is they had lost 98% of all that money. Like, because they kept
That hurts.
putting
That
it in. Like,
hurts.
they thought it was going to keep going up and up and up. Because I was like, hey, you just turned like $2,000 into like 100,000. Like, sell, take it, like send that to your bank account. Like,
And you can wait it out. Like you can wait and get back in again. Like, because again, the market doesn't move like this. It moves like this.
Like worst case scenario, you sell the top, it dips, and you just buy the bottom.
Yeah,
Like,
you buy it at a cheaper price.
but see, a lot of the newer people, they don't look at the charts, and then I feel like that's a very big no-no and a big
It's a
mistake
huge
because
no-no.
like you don't know where price is at. You just see like Bitcoin's at X price, and you're like, okay, buy. You don't know if that's down low or way up high. Versus someone that like looks at like a chart or trading view, they're like, oh, okay, it looks pretty high. I'll wait a little bit till it drops lower. Like
Unless you're dollar
that's
cost averaging, which that's the only time I would say, okay, fine. And if you're
yeah.
just buying at a certain time every month, like you're gonna catch some high points, you're gonna catch some low points, and it's kind of gonna average out. But unless you're doing that, that's the only time that you don't need to look at a chart. And your
I
money
feel
will
like
still go further if
even
you do
with
look at a chart.
DCA, I feel like I would advise looking at the chart if you're going to DCA, just if you want like a better DCA.
Exactly. But for people who don't know, that's like, if you feel like, no, I'm never looking at a chart, then just pick a certain time every month and put money in no matter what. But if you care about your money going further, you need to know how to read a chart. It's not even,
Yeah.
it's really not optional, to be honest. It's not.
Like if you want to do really good, learn to read a chart.
Learn,
because then you can get
please.
into lows, sells at the highs.
Yeah, that's a full circle moment right there. So there's this special point that I wanted to bring in, and I want to make sure that I say it correctly, because this goes into probability, and it's a way that it kind of applies to life in general. with us just seeing how deep it actually goes into probability, how trader and different investor mindsets go into looking at how they're basically playing chess with their money based on highs and lows in the market, different patterns and probabilities of it going in the way that they want it to go. That same stuff happens with life. People talk about it with their friend groups. People talk about it with the activities that they do over and over. Look at the people around you. What's the probability that you're going to be where you want to be around the people that you're around? And you can determine the probability because, again, it's the majority. So whatever's going on in most of their lives, if you could make a chart and interview a specific person, are you having money trouble right now? And you mark it. Is your relationship going well? And you mark it. Are you at a job that you like? The ones that you see hit most often, that is the probability of that group, of it going that way in that particular group that you're in. And same thing with the things that you're doing. If you're out here living a crazy life and most of your people aren't where you would want to be, but most of them have been there or something crazy has happened around, that's a probability. That's a probability. Not working in your favor. You want to do the exact opposite. If you're that person where you might be listening in like, dang, that's my people, but honestly, where they are is not really where I want to be. That just means you need to add a whole bunch of other people who are, if you don't want to lose those people, but you need to make sure that the probability of life going where you want it to go is reflective in who you hang around and the things that you're doing with your life.
There's two things I want to say. There's a saying where it says like you are who the 5 people you hang out with are. And then birds of the same feather flock together. Eagles will soar with eagles and chickens will cluck with chickens. So that's a big thing right there. So like who you hang out with is what you'll turn into. Like let's say if you're a little bit overweight and you're hanging out with overweight friends, you're not gonna just all suddenly lose weight. But like let's say you're a little bit overweight and then the rest of your friends are really buff and they go to the gym a lot, hanging around them, they'll be like, hey, come to the gym, and then they can teach you stuff, and then boom, there you go. Now let's say you're in a financial situation and then all of your friends are in a not so good financial situation, y'all will probably hinder and stay in that same area. Now, let's say you're in a financial situation, but you have a couple friends and then they're making some good money. Just hanging around them, they could help you and then shut off their knowledge and their energy. And then that will help you grow as well. So like, say you're here and you have a negative friend group, they will kind of drag you down. Like they'll be like, oh, do this. And you'll,
because that's where they are.
A bad habit. Yeah.
Yeah,
be like,
that's the habit.
Let's go party every night. Let's go do this. And then you'll do what they want to do. And then it's not working with it. But like, let's say you have a friend group that's like, they're making a lot of money, they're healthy, all that. And you hang out with them, just by associating with them, you're going to gain that same energy and be on that same vibration. And then you're going to grow and then start making money yourself and then start learning new things. And then like I said earlier, you are who you hang out with. So like, do you want to be a chicken or do you want to be an eagle? Because like the choice is yours at the end of the day. Like,
right, one gets eaten and one doesn't, and we know
exactly. Like, I don't know anyone that eats eagles, but like at the end of the day, you make the choice and you have to decide, hey, this is where I'm at in life now. Where do I want to go? Do I want to hang out with these people? Do I want to grow and hang out with these people? And another thing is like, let's say you have friends and they might not be like the best when it comes to life choices. It's okay to still be their friends. You can just make a little bit of distance while you get your life to where you want to be, and like you can still maintain those friendships. Like, don't get me wrong, you don't have to cut them off. You can still maintain those friendships, but at the same time you don't want to hinder your own personal growth. So it's a balance at the end of the day of what you have to do with the new friends, the people you want to connect with, and then your old friends as well. Because a lot of my friends here in town that I hang out in person, a couple of them are investors, but the majority of them aren't. So when I look for people that are like investing, it's mainly like online, like Discord, Facebook, Twitter. Like being connected to other investors has helped me grow personally, because I'm like, hey, I can share my charts, I can get feedback, share new projects, blah 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 this, blah 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 that, and it really helps people grow. And back to probabilities. So this story, right? I'll give a brief story. I had invested in this one NFT called Metanauts Club, and man, it was by someone that I trusted, and he's still a good person, but the team behind it, it didn't play out as expected, and that turned into a rug. Now
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that happened, because what happened was, in the Discord, it was an NFT group, and it was supposed to be for like investors, entrepreneurs, and there was a
Mm-hmm.
trading chat. And then I was in the trading chat, posting my charts and all that, and I meet other investors, and then they were being really weird. They would like delete our messages and say, "Oh, y'all can't talk about this or that." So then someone was like, "Let's make our own Discord for trading." So I opened up a Discord and made for trading, invited all of them, and then later they had rugged the project. So what rug means is like they pull the rug, like they took all the money and they left, and they
Mm-hmm.
had deleted every single chat in the Discord, and we were
Mm-hmm.
all like,
What
what,
the
what's
heck?
going on?
Yeah.
And then so the little trading Discord group was more like a rugged refugee Discord. So we like all invited everyone in there. I'm so glad that happens, because like we're a family now. Like that Discord grew from 10 people, and then we have over 70 people now. And then it's
Mm-hmm.
like our investing Discord. We talk about like NFTs, crypto, Forex, and then like we've all grown as a family, because we're like, yeah, we got rugged, but like a phoenix, we rose from the ashes to grow and prosper. And then what Mennonites Club did is they recommended, they're like, oh, sorry, we rugged you. Like, here's 2 NFT groups. And
That's weird.
I,
I actually did
I,
invest in that project just because of Sean. I was like, okay. I looked at it. I'm like, okay, I trust what Sean's building. And yeah, that was actually a rug pull that surprised me. I was
what
like,
was crazy,
that's
what was
disappointing.
crazy is the 2 NFT projects they recommend, both of those were also rugs. And who owned
Wow.
both of those were their friends. I was like,
No.
wow.
Yes,
And then what had
yeah. That's
happened
why I
was
don't take
I
recommendations
had
anymore. I'm
gotten
like, I'll figure it
into
out.
I had gotten into ASC, which was All Stars Club,
Mm-hmm.
but I bought it and I sold it at a profit, because
Okay, good.
saw I saw a bunch of red flags. I was like, let me sell it just in case. And then like after I sold it, about a week later, they rugged the whole thing. And then so what I did is, because I had met a bunch of new friends in there, I invited all of them to my Discord group, and then we were talking about the rug there and all that. And some of them have sold, and they got their money back, most of them. And then all in all, it's like the Discord group, it's like we got rugged, yeah, and it was bad, but it brought all of us together, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what really mattered. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because we're a family now, because we all have different backgrounds, so to come together and share our knowledge is just wonderful about everything, whether it's just like investing, life, different career paths. And then we even have like a gaming channel, because I play a lot of Warzone, so it's always fun to connect with people and play Warzone.
And that's the part we were talking about earlier, is if you guys would have just quit after after the rug pull, then it would have been a loss. But when you allow time to kind of average out your losses, and you gain more experience, and you can put that experience into real life and the things that you're doing, then you increase your probability of winning. And
Exactly.
another thing that you said that I want to address is, even though we use the word balance, I feel like it shouldn't be a balance. If you have friends that you are not, that just aren't necessarily where you want to be, you need to overload on the other side, because at the end of the day, balance means that you're here. You could either go this way or you can go that way. Like, if you're gonna have certain friends that are kind of up to no good, you need to tip the scale to the other side as much as possible, because one, you probably have a lot more time with the friends than the other people. So make sure
Mm-hmm.
that at all times you are tipping the hands, the odds, or whatever in your favor. That's very, very important, and that's literally this entire thing. Always move such that the power of probability is in your favor. And the difference that separates, because people try to make or akin trading to gambling, the people who don't really know. But trading is actually the other side. It's not gambling, it's playing like the casino. The casino will come
Mm-hmm.
in and they'll let you trade, or they'll let you play, because why? They know the house always wins. You might win 3 times, but I'm gonna win 7. And that's how we're gonna play. They don't try to, like, they're not hurt and distraught once you win big and everybody's celebrating and they've lost. They know that humans are emotional creatures. And this is another thing we have to fight in our trading. They know humans are emotional creatures, like your friends. Instead of taking their 10x wins, 20x wins, they're going to go and they're going to probably lose it all. And they're, at the end of the day, house is going to win. And we have to be the house ourselves. We have to be the casino, not the gambler. We're putting ourselves in a position emotionally, when we take losses, we don't trip. It's not the end of the world.
And then like a big thing that I tell people is you have to look back and not be greedy. Like with those
Yeah.
people, I'm like, you turn like 2,000-3,000 into 100 grand. Like, yeah, you want to make more, but like,
Get out.
just look back at what you did.
Yeah.
Like most people don't make 100 grand in a month, and you
Mhm.
just turn 2 or 3
In a year, let's
into
be real, in a
100
month.
grand.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
Over a
yo,
course of several years.
get out. And then what I always like to tell people is like, compare your gain to what a normal person makes. Like, let's say a normal person makes $15 an hour. So
Mhm.
like, let's say they work 40 hours a week. So 40 times 4 is 160 times 15. That's 2,400 a month. So I'm like, if
Mhm.
you made, and then like, let's multiply that by 12. So, oh, my calculator times 12, that's 28,800 a year. So I'm like, if you made 100, like, just
Come
pull
on,
out,
bro.
take it. Like,
Come on,
and I
bro.
had to learn
Yeah.
that the hard way.
Me too.
It was 4th of July of last year. I remember, oh, I was using a $4,000 account, and I was hardcore trading Ethereum like crazy. I had 14 positions open on Ethereum, and
Wow.
then I had 2 positions open on Bitcoin. And I think I had in total eight or 9 lots on Ether, 2 lots on Bitcoin. And then,
Going
oh
for
my
the
gosh,
guts, so
I was up
going for
like
the
$7,500 on my account. Like the account balance had hit over $12,000 at its peak, but it was fluctuating like in the mid 7,000s. And I'm over here like, oh yeah, I want to go up. But I'm like, I'm up like 150%. I should have got out. But what happened was like, I went to the movie and it was like the new Fast and Furious. And I remember I had to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, and when I checked my phone, it was like $7,300. I'm like, yeah, I should have got out, but I didn't.
yeah.
And
They
then
said the moment you start celebrating is the moment you should get out.
at peak excitement, so
Get out. Yep.
whenever you're taking screenshots of that, get out.
Get out.
And then
Yep.
so like I went back to the movie, and by the time the movie was over, I checked it and it was like 6,700. I'm like, oh damn it. Like I'm like, okay, I'll get out when it's at like 8 grand. And then like throughout the night it just got lower and lower. And I had moved my stop losses and they were in
Ooh.
profit, but
Fatal
I added
mistake.
extra trades, and then those had a regular stop loss and it was the
Dang.
same stop loss.
Yep.
And then I went to bed, and then when I woke up, it had kissed my stop loss, knocked me out of every single trade, and I lost $200. So my account balance was then 3,800. So like the sheer volume of that,
Been there.
like I only lost $200, but I was so mad because I was up at peak
Mm-hmm.
8 grand and I didn't take it. But I told you about this last time because that lesson I learned from that. Because remember when we got that Babel airdrop, I made
Yes.
like
Oh my
86.
gosh.
I made like 8,600 off that because I sold it right there at like 21 cents.
And that was the me learning the lesson for the first time, because I didn't get that lesson. I even put more money in Babel. I don't know. I don't know what to say about Babel right now. We'll just let it do what it is.
What is Babel now? Because it's
Yeah. I'm like, that was a pump and dump for now. I don't know if it'll do something later, but whatever. Anyway, you live and you learn. It's like, that's the whole risk part, is you never put in more than you can stand. Like the whole risk tolerance and risk analysis and everything as it pertains to risk and trading is just telling you, because I'm trying to apply all this stuff to life, to real life. So when things are happening and you're in certain positions, make sure that you're, again, not betting it all on one horse. Like, make sure, because the name of the game in terms of success is longevity. It's not about who got the first. It's like, who can last the longest, who can take the most L's until they get to their W, who can last the longest and not quit. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about risk management and trading, is like, okay, I can take this L, I can take this L, I can take this many L's, and it's still not just demolish my account. Like, I can still be alive in my account in this trading thing. Yeah. And that's what it's about here too. Like, make sure that you're putting yourself in a position to still be able to be alive, and whether it's your bank account or trading account, whatever, so that you can continue to just have longevity in this thing. Like, you want to make it such that you give yourself understanding that you will take losses, but those losses don't just completely ruin you. Not that you can't come back from zero, which many traders and many successful people have hit zero and had to come back, but they're coming back with more experience. That's the difference. When you take an L and the L was experienced, then you can learn from it. If you just threw some stuff up against the wall, like you don't have really any data, you don't have as much data to analyze because you didn't do it based on data. So you can't go back and, oh, this is what I did wrong. Okay, now I'll do X, Y, and Z. You'll still have some data to do that. Like, okay, I won't just do this randomly anymore. I'll put some more thought into it. But it's the more thought you put into it, the more you have to analyze about what you should do, what's working, what's not. Like you said, keeping a journal. This doesn't have to be just about trading. Again, this is life principles. Keep a journal in life about what's working for you, what people are working for you, what, everything. Like, keep a detailed account in those patterns, because what probability is habits. It's a
100%.
habit in the market. This is what the market tends to do when these set of situations show up. It typically does this. When people are talking about you are the closest or the summation of the 5 closest people to you, it's because of their habits. It's not because they necessarily don't want the best for you. Is that what they do the most, you're obviously going to be subjected to. It just is what it is. It's a matter of probability. And so those same principles apply. We can easily switch out the word probability for habit. When you're putting yourself in a position to be most probable that you're going to win, it's you developing winning habits and putting yourself with people who have winning habits.
100%. So you had put me on Joe Dispenza.
Oh, I love Joe.
I didn't know who that was until you told me. And like, I follow him on Instagram and I've seen some of his stuff. But like one night, so this is a funny story. I got like drunk and then like I was watching YouTube videos and I saw like an ad for Gaia. And for those of you that don't know what Gaia is, it's like Netflix, but for like documentaries on everything from like mindset, aliens, like sub-quantum theory, like vibrations, the universe, like all that kind of stuff. And it was, I think, like $14, something like that. So I had subscribed. And then I'm watching like these, I forget what the show is. I think it's called Rewired by Joe Dispenza. And he's talking about how to rewire your brain so you can program it to have a successful life. And he says your personality is your personal reality. Change your personality, you'll change your personal reality. And he says your personality is comprised of what you do every day and your habits. If you do the same thing every day, you will get the same results. If you want new results, you have to change your habits. And he says, what is change? Do something different than you did the day prior, whether it's uncomfortable or not. Like, let's say you're not working out and you want to go to a gym, but it's a new gym, you've never been there before, you're a little bit nervous. Just go out there and do it, and then you'll get comfortable with that new habit. And then, like, let's say you start day 1 at the gym, then go day 2, day 3. Next thing you know, like, months are going to pass by regardless, so you might as well start making progress. And then, like, next thing you know, after like 3 months of going to the gym, you'll see the results. And then with that result, you'll see your progress. And like Tony Robbins once says, progress equals happiness. And once you see that, you'll become like addicted to it. You're like, okay,
how can I be better?
Yeah, exactly. I finally see the results I need. I'm just going to keep going and keep going. And then that's going to push you further. And then that applies with anything. Like, if you want to change something in your life, you have to change the habit. And I heard somewhere that it takes like 21 days, somewhere around there, to form a new habit. And like, it may be hard at first, but once that habit formulates, then you'll be good in the long run. You just have
to keep that momentum,
the habit. And then the habits, I think it was Tony Robbins that said this too. It says motivation will keep you started, habits will keep you going. So like, we've all had that before where we're like super motivated to do something, then eventually you're going to lose that motivation. But if you have that habit of you doing that X amount, like, we'll go back to the gym, for example. Like, you have the motivation for the gym, but a lot of people quit. But like, let's say you've been going to the gym at X time 5 days a week and you've been doing that for 3 months. Well, that's going to be in your new routine. So then you're going to keep doing that, keep doing that, keep doing that. So like, even if you're not motivated, you'll still go. And I think I saw on one of your videos on Instagram, you said like, I didn't want to go to the gym today, but I win
I
anyways.
went
Like,
anyway.
see, exactly, yeah. Like,
It's that feeling. Because
you
I
just
just
gotta
thought
do it.
about this because you just said that. Like, this literally popped in my head. Habits supersede emotion.
Hmm.
Even with
Exactly.
things we want. I really wish I could. Your habit will override most likely your emotion of that time. Like, think about people with bad habits. I really want to stop this, but I just can't. Like, doesn't matter how their emotion, they're so sad that they're doing it. And you see a lot of times with people who suffer from drug addiction and stuff, like, that's an extreme habit. So
Yeah.
they want to stop so bad. They can see how it's ruining their life or ruining the lives of the people or affecting the lives of the people around them. But their habit supersedes their emotions about it because it's so ingrained. And we can use that the same way, even though sometimes we tend to focus more on the negative. We can apply those same things with our lives. We can apply them in the other way, just like you can make money in trading if it goes up or down. You just have to know which
Hmm.
way to apply it. Like, once you see the direction or once you see a certain pattern playing out in a certain way, you can position yourself to win based on that. And so we know
Hmm.
we work off habit, and we can see generationally the habits that have led to certain things that maybe we like or don't like. All we need to do is apply those same habits. And I think the body, especially with working out, is a great way to put that into like a physical context of what happens when you apply certain principles. Like the
Yeah.
principle of making a habit, the principle of, because your body will literally like start to chisel out and transform. Whereas when we're talking about mindset stuff and psychology, it might be a little bit more abstract for people to understand. But I thought about
Hmm.
this reference earlier. I'm like, when we're thinking about the probability of something happening, let's say you have a friend. This is an extreme example to really drive it home, so I'm going to say that. I'm going to preface that. If you have a friend and they have a gun and they like to play Russian roulette, and you know that they they load up, they have this crazy revolver, has 10 in the chamber, they like to play with 9 in the chamber. Are you gonna So it's 9 bullets in the chamber and 1 free space. Are you gonna want to play with that friend or the friend who has 1 bullet in the chamber and 9 free spaces? Like, that is the stuff that we're talking about when
I
we're
don't think I
talking
want
about
to play to
habits.
begin with.
I don't want to play to begin with either. But if someone said you have to play with one or the other, it's not a hard choice. But when it's not as obvious for us to see, even though it's literally just as serious, we don't make the same decisions. You're still hanging
Hmm.
out with that friend group, and they're definitely the 9 in the chamber group. Your habits are the 9 in the chamber habits.
Hmm.
You're eating as it pertains to your family's health history is the 9 in the chamber habits. And you're surprised, we're surprised when things happen. What? I could never expect it. Oh, we're just such an unlucky group. We're such an unlucky family. No, you just played the probability of what was already going to happen. Like, you need to be on the other end. There's always a
Hmm.
chance you're going to be in that 1 bullet in the chamber, but I'm playing with the 9. It's a 90% chance that I'm going to come out of this looking clean. I'm taking that bet. And we have to put ourselves in a position to make sure that with as many things as we can be aware of, that we're putting ourselves in not the 9 in the chamber position.
Hmm. I think the best thing that, like, let's say someone would ask, like, how would you change and get better probabilities? I think the best bet to start would be one, finding those new friend groups that are in vibrational frequency with what you want to do. Like, let's say
Yeah.
whether you want to be an investor, a chef, plumber, real estate, find people in that area or in that niche that you would like to hang out with. Because, like, let's say I have a buddy and he's a really good friend of mine. We play Warzone. He lives in Dallas and all that stuff. And he's an investor too. And he trades stock options. And I'm like, hey, you should um, teach me about options, blah blah blah. And then he's been like giving me like options here, options here, teaching me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember in 2020 he gave me like a couple option calls, and he's given me like, I wouldn't say signals, or maybe he's just like messaged me out of nowhere, and he's like, hey, buy this, and then he give me the reasons why. I made money on every single one of those. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
and like, teach me, because I'm like, I don't want
Reasons
to
are
just
great.
like,
Reasons are teaching. That's not so much a signal if you're giving reasons.
true. And
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, teach me, blah blah blah. And then like like he'd show me an analysis and all that stuff. I'm like, yo, that's bad. And then he showed me a couple other investors. So we all started hanging out. I'm like, yo, like we're all investors, we're all learning, blah, blah, blah. So the friend
Huge.
group really matters. And then to the habits, building new habits. And I think Tony Robbins said this again. Like, let's say you don't want to go to the gym. He said, just get ready and go. And then if you don't like it, you can go home. But 90% of the time, because you're
Yeah,
already dressed and you're
totally.
already in the car,
Yeah, I've been
you're
there.
gonna go. You're like, I'm already doing it.
I don't
I
want to
might as
waste my
well.
time. And right, I might as well.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. And then like
Exactly.
once you're already doing it, you're like, well, I'm already doing it. I might as well finish it. And then you're like, okay, I already completed one day. I
You're
might as
like,
well do the
yay.
second day, the
Exactly.
third day.
Yeah.
Exactly. Give yourself
Well,
that
now I
time back.
have a
And then
streak. I don't want to break the streak, you know?
yeah. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, I've been doing this 7 days in a row. I might as well do 8. And the
Yep.
next thing you know, like, boom, your good habit is built and you're doing it on and on and on. So a combination between having good habits and then hanging out with the right people is going to escalate your progress in life. And then another thing
Exponentially.
is write everything down. Write like on a piece of paper. Like don't type it in your phone, on a piece of paper, because that makes the biggest difference. And I think it's writing it into existence is what someone said.
Mm-hmm.
And like write your goals, your dreams, your aspirations, and then the plan. Don't be like, hey, I want to make $1 million, right? Hey, I want to make $1 million and this is how I'm going to do it.
And by
Like,
what
and
time, how much a month, like get
exactly.
detailed.
Like make
Yeah.
it the most in-depth, detailed plan where if you are off course, you just look at the plan and be like, okay,
Oh,
this is
yeah.
where I'm at. This is
Mm-hmm.
what I need to do. Like
Huge.
a combination of those three together, oh my gosh, you're going to see exponential growth in life in general. And
Mm-hmm.
like you have to multiply all of that by time. Like you're not going to get these results tomorrow. Like it's going to take time. But like when you look back, like let's say you're a year ahead and then you look back at all your progress, you'll be like, damn, in January I was here, but now it's December and I've done this, and
Mm-hmm.
this. My body's changed. I'm hanging out with different people. I'm making more money. I'm happier, good relationships. You're like, wow, like people underestimate the amount of progress you can make in such a short amount of time. Like what you can do in 1 year. Oh my gosh, from like
Yeah.
you might be down bad in January, but you might be living the best life
Way
in
up.
December. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's
Patience and
totally possible.
consistency. Yeah.
Exactly.
Necessary.
Patience and
Necessary.
consistency. Just
Well,
oh,
this is, yeah, that was a great way to kind of end it. I'm gonna say a little piece and then I want you to give a piece, just like some final words to say to the people who are gonna be listening. But what I
all
want to
right.
say is, and just to recap, because I don't think we went into this specifically, even though we recognize that it was the course that we've both taken, but it was also the course through Q's Facebook group that we actually
Yeah.
were acquainted. We got together in terms of like just recognizing we had similar mindsets about how we view the world and just that no quit, that keep going, and have both had to encourage each other when we're just like, you know what, I'm just so tired. Like this that was it. And you're like, nah. And we end up getting back on the horse because you need people around you. You're not going to be 100% all the time, right? Because we just recognize that doesn't exist. So you need the people around you too of a like mind, because they're the people that are going to be like, this isn't you. You need to get back on it, do X, Y, and Z. And the other people, if you're around people who are like, see, I told you investing was a mistake. Told you Forex was a mistake. Two totally different, again, put the probability in your favor. But I also want to say thank you for being a person like that I have in my corner. And even though I'm definitely have taken time to just get my own self together and strengthen my own like inner intuition with trading, with just investing in everything, I
Mhm.
definitely know that you're a person I can go to and you're going to have something positive to say that's also real, and you're a person who's not just saying that, but we're both living that. And so it's easy to hear from you because I know that that's how you're living your life as well. So I want to say thank you for that. And then I want you to speak to that person who might be working out of Lowe's, who might be working, someplace where they're like, I know it's more than this. I know this is my launch pad, my booster, my rocket booster, but I don't exactly know how it's going to turn out. Speak speak words to that person.
So to the people working in like let's say 9 to 5 that have the big dreams but they don't really know what to do, my advice to them is to make a thorough plan. Because what I did is I wrote a plan down because previously, because that was all in 2020. In 2019, I told you how I had lost that money, and
Yeah.
then I was down pretty bad early or late 2019. So 2019, oh, that was rough. But I told myself, like, hey, I'm in a bad position. I am going to get out of this. What am I going to do? Because I told myself, hey, I need to start studying. So that I wrote that in the plan: study, study, study. Because I literally just lost 11 grand. I clearly don't know what I'm doing. So I wrote on the plan: study every day. Doesn't matter. Get time in. Whether that's 30 minutes, 2 hours. Study every day. And then I was like, I need capital. How am I going to get that? Well, I need to get a job. So I got a job that didn't pay well. So I'm like, hey, I need a better job. So I got a decent job. And at Lowe's, I got paid, I think, 15 an hour. And then
Mm-hmm.
I told myself, hey, I'm going to work here until I have a lot of money saved up and until I am a good trader. So what I did is I just studied every day, hours of work into studying the charts, webinars, back testing, all that, while simultaneously working a job and saving up money. And then like what a lot of people do that I see, because I have a lot of friends that work like a 9 to 5 and like
Mm-hmm.
they make good money, but they're always broke. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
what are you doing? What are you doing? So you're gonna have to sacrifice a portion of your life, like whether that be 1 year or 2 years, but like no partying, like no going out, spending a lot of money, all that. You're gonna have that delayed gratification. So step one is write a plan, and then uh figure out what you really want to do. Like let's say whether that be investing, gaming, entrepreneurship, real estate, figure out what you want, and then save money. Use that 9 to 5 as that launch pad. Save as much money as you can. Like save, 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 save. And while you save that money, learn a skill set that can multiply that money. So that
Leverage.
way,
Yep.
exactly. So like let's say you're working a year, study everything. We'll use investing for an example. Study technical analysis and investing and really grasp and understand how to read the markets, the assets you trade, crypto, all that. Understand that. And then save, save, save. So then when you're ready, you have that money, and then still keep your job, but then use that money and then use your skill to grow the money even more and even more. And remember, still keep your job just in case. And then because that job will keep your income, so you'll have consistent money. You will then use that money to pay your bills. So now your bills are covered. Now don't go out and spend a lot of money, but um, keep using your skill set to increase your capital. Like let's say you have 10,000 saved and then you're trading and you make 2,000 at Lowe's. So you have 2,000 coming in, and then I'd say pay your bills and then save 80% and then give yourself 20% to go spend, do whatever. And then keep studying and then just grow and grow your account. And then once you can consistently make X amount per month, like let's say you can consistently make 2,000 a month trading,
Mm-hmm.
keep working at your job and keep trading until you can consistently grow. And then like let's say you're at the point where you're making 4,000 a month and you've been doing that for 6 months. Then once you have enough capital saved where you can survive, let's say 6 months to a year on your own, if you had no money coming in, then you can think about quitting your job and then just look for that consistency, that risk to reward, and all that. Because when I was working at Lowe's, I had about 2,000 saved, and then I had invested that, and then I literally all my paychecks would go to crypto. Every time I got paid,
Mm-hmm.
I dumped it in crypto, and then that was during the because in 2020 we had the drop of COVID in March, and then after that everything just started
Yeah. Took
slowly
off.
going up, and then we had the bull run, and
Mm-hmm.
then so I had accumulated quite a lot of money, and then I was trading all the time. I was putting in the work. And I remember like when Lowe's got really slow, I would trade at my desk. And when the managers would come, I'd like X out of trading view and all that. And then I got to the point where I'm like, I would miss a trade because I was working. And then that had bothered me because I was making, like, let's say I work 10 hours times 15, that's 150 a day. And I'm like, oh man, I could have made $700 off that trade. And then once you feel confident in yourself and you have the money saved up, you have the skill, then you can take what is called the leap of faith, where you're like, I'm gonna go full-time trader. Let's see what happens. And then it was really scary at first because I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. And then with that, that psychology, that psychological effect of like, oh, now I have to like consistently make this, otherwise how am I going to pay my bills? Like, that gets to you. But after a while you're like, okay, I made a little bit this month, then you make a little bit more next month, then a little bit more, a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more, a little bit more, and then you grow and you grow, and as long as you grow that skill set, you're going to get better and better. And then I got connected with other traders. We started sharing trade ideas. We started helping each other out. I go to trading networks. And then, I don't know, just life slowly and slowly got better. But like, it will take time. Like, I started learning how to trade 2017. So 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20, that's 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if you're first starting, don't expect to be rich tomorrow. Like, learn and study every day, and then work at a job for a couple of years. Like, it might not be fun now, but you'll have the life you've dreamed of
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
6, 7 years. Like,
Yeah.
that time is going to elapse regardless. So you might as well plant the seed now so you can harvest the fruits in the future. So then just
Mm.
study, study, study. Because like what a lot of people are doing is they just work at a job, and then they're like, oh man, this job sucks. They pay their bills and they use the rest of their money to go party and all that. And then they're just stuck in that loop.
Living life
Like,
for the
you just
weekend.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
you have to save money to get out of that, and you have to have a skill set so you can multiply that
And a
money. And then
plan.
that's the only way
Yep.
to get out. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So to sum up all of that, save money, study whatever field of work you choose, and then write a very, very in-depth detailed plan, and then do it every day. And what I really like doing is like, I'll write like a detailed plan, and I'll write like a little like daily like checkup list. So like what I do is I'll put like week one, I'll do like Sunday through or like Monday through Sunday, and I'll put like little circles like day one, day two, day three. And then I have a checklist like, did I study? Did I save? Did I do this? And then if I completed it, I'd mark that day complete. And then I do that every single day. And then that is so powerful in itself, because you can see your fucking progress. Like, you'll be
Yeah.
like, oh, I've done this one
Look
day,
at
I've
me.
done
I'm
this
going
2 days.
in. Yep.
Like, next thing you know, like once you're a month deep, you're like, wow, I've really done this for 1 month.
Yeah, it feels
And the
really
next thing
good.
you know, like 2 months, 3 months. And then once you're done with that plan, keep it and put it in a file. And then whenever you have a new project or something you're working on, make another one. And then one day, like, you will find that file and you'll look at it and be like, these are the plans that changed my life. Like, I started that strategy back in 2018 with working out and saving money. My goal was to save up $10,000 in like 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time the plan was over, I had like 17,000. I'm like, whoa.
Boom.
And then I was
Yep.
like, my thing was like, not only save money, but I had another plan where it's like, go to the gym, go to the gym. And then I saw progress within my own body. I'm like, wow, this is working. Kaizen means one step at a time. You don't build a house in a day. You lay brick by brick by brick.
Mm-hmm.
The like little progress each and every day adds up. Think of it like $1 here, $5 here, $20 here, $40 here. Like, that will add up eventually. Like, people are always trying to go for like these major gains in life. Like, I want to be rich tomorrow, or I want a six pack by next
Let it
Wednesday. Like,
compound. Let your progress and things
exactly.
compound over time.
Like, pat yourself on the back for those little dubs, like, because that really matters.
It
And then
does.
over time, that accumulates, and next thing you know, you'll be where you want to be. And then a big, big thing, don't fucking quit. Like, just keep going, keep going, keep going. Like, there are so many times where I've lost money, like, where I take a trade and I lose, and I'm like infuriated, but I'm like, I just got to keep going. Like, if I
Yep.
quit now, I lost the money. What am I going to do? But if I keep going, I'm going to make the money back. I'm going to make more. Like, you just got to have that perseverance to keep going in life, because eventually you will hit your goal and you'll be where you want to be. And a little thing to help that is affirmations and manifestations, like whatever it may
Yeah.
be. Like, let's say you want a nice house, a nice car, you're dreaming about going to some place for vacation, manifest that. Watch a
Mm-hmm.
YouTube video, all that. Like, for me, I like cars. So like, what I like doing is like, I will go to like the Lamborghini dealership, the Ferrari dealership, and I'll be like, yo,
Visualize
can I look
yourself
at
in
this
that.
car?
Yeah.
And then it never hurts to ask. That's another big rule. I went to the McLaren dealership, they had a 720S. I was like, hey, could I sit in the car? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm already in the car. I'm like, can I start the car? He's like, okay, okay. And then like, I started the car. I'm like, well, I'm sitting in the car and it's already started. I'm like, can I rev it? And then he let me rev it. I'm like, oh, this is great. And then To sit in
That's
the
funny.
car, to turn it on, to rev it, and then just
Now
like
your brain knows what that feels like.
exactly,
Mm-hmm.
you know what that feels like, so you can manifest that. And when you manifest that and you feel that, you're releasing that energy into the universe, and what you release out, the universe will give back. But it takes time. So you just manifest what you want in life. You work hard, you save money, you study, you make a plan, and you keep up that consistency. That's just an equation for
Boom.
excellence right there.
Yeah.
You're gonna hit it eventually. Achieve excellence
Achieve
always. Like
excellence always.
you're
Yeah.
bound to hit your goals. You just gotta keep it up. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Y'all,
what I say.
there it is. There it is. Go back and watch that again, because that's literally, like I said, the plan that I've watched. And this is where we connect, just on that. Don't quit, manifest it, visualize it, stay at it, like all that. If you are wondering what exactly was said, if you didn't catch all of it, even if you think you did, go ahead and watch that last little segment again, because I think you'll catch some more gems than you originally caught, because that was powerful. You gave a really detailed account of how to really make this work, and that can be applied in anything in life. So thank you guys so much. If you made it to the end, you got the right stuff. Like, if you made it here, then you're family. You've resonated with us and our energy, which is very much, again, that don't quit, keep going, success. Like, we both know that as a fact, that if we keep going, we are going to make it. Like, it's not an if, it's just a win. And if you hang out with more people like that, then you'll start to become that way too, and understand that about yourself, because that's how this works, and that's the code that successful people have cracked. So again, it's been real. Henry, let them know where they can find you again.
So my Instagram is Henry the Ninja with 2 A's. So yeah, follow me on the Instagram.
And you guys know it's at Study the Ascent on all platforms. See you guys next time. It's been real. Peace.